Welcome. My name is Yvonne, and I'm here to help you with parenting support. Today, we're going to touch on a few basic needs. I'm not going to make it a long presentation, but it is quite an important one. Why is it important? Because if we can recognize the symptoms that our children are showing us, these are little clues to the needs that need to be met. Sometimes they can be very simple needs that need to be met. A child can only learn and be engaged in the class when we meet these needs. So let's go through them. The first need, the very basic need, and this is based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is the need for nutrition, water, and warmth. So this is literally keeping the body alive. And you'd be surprised how many children don't have this need met. And this is because sometimes we're rushing out the house and we just don't have enough time to give breakfast. Or we're en route somewhere and we haven't realized it's lunchtime yet. And our kids get hungry. We often see that the behavior that we don't want to have come out comes right to the top because they're hungry or they're thirsty. And they often can't see the difference between those two, especially when they're in the toddler years. While this child is hungry, there is no chance of them engaging in learning. If a child comes to school and they have not eaten, they will be restless, they will be grumpy, and obviously we've all heard of the term hangry. If you've got kids, you know what that means. They get angry and hungry, and there is nothing you can do. So that need is a basic need, but this is where your grumpy children come in. The need for safety. In South Africa, we don't have the perfect environment, but we do owe our kids safety. And that sense of safety is not just the four walls where they can rely on being able to relax and let their guard down, but also the safety of routines, being able to predict what comes next and know that if they arrive at school, that the teacher will be there. That's also the sense of safety. The sense of belonging. Children need to know that they are loved. And as adults, we need to know that we're loved. They need the affection. We sometimes talk about love languages and how some children need to be touched. They need to be hugged. They always need to just touch onto you. Other children need to hear that they've made you proud. They need to hear those words of affirmation. We can get into the love languages another time, but that's where this fits in. They have parents, adults, and their friends that give them this. And that's why when their friendships at school get a little shaky, this need for belonging is where the need is not being met. And that requires quite a lot of support from parents. Their need for self-esteem. We find perfectionist children here where they are engaged in the learning content, but they don't feel that they're doing well enough, or they can't spell yet, or they keep getting the maths problem wrong. This child wants to learn, but they are not confident enough in their own abilities, their self-esteem, to be able to do well and apply themselves without risk. They need to have goals set at this stage so that they have that attainable. I cannot emphasize how important goals are in schooling and throughout life. Have your children set their own goals so that they have a measurable, they are achieving what they are wanting to achieve. And that's a little tick for success, a little trophy or a little badge on their lapel so that they know that they are achieving those things. They appreciate the recognition from others. They are very social by the time they get to the self-esteem age, and they need to know that other people approve of them. Also part of the love languages, but they need to actually have authenticity. They need to know they have achieved that, and that's why they're getting the recognition, and also comparing themselves to others. Self-actualization. This is where we have a child that is highly engaged, or an adult, highly engaged in the learning content and wants to make it their own. They now want to apply this. They want to turn this into something useful for the world. This is the need to make a difference to your environment, where you can make the world a better place with what you know. Knowing those needs, why are they important? A hungry child is an irritable child. They will break rules and they'll steal. They'll often get arrested for trying to find food because that need is so basic and so primal. If they haven't been able to get the food, this is a child that will lie on the carpet, lean on a desk, fall asleep in class. Is this the child's fault? Not at all. This is a need not being met. A tired child. We've all had those kids, it's past bedtime or they haven't slept well the night before. An overtired child is an over emotional child. They are completely disengaged from anything and happening around them. All they want to do is rest. And I do believe as adults we can relate to that too. When our children have no friends, we find that they withdraw because rejection makes them want to not put themselves out there anymore. They get very depressed because it is a social age. Being a child is a very, very social time. And if you get rejection during that period, it could be a lifelong scar if we don't support them and help them through the process of socialization. Low self-esteem, they feel very unimportant. This is where your communication with your child comes in. You must engage with them, acknowledge their feelings so that you can support them through the process of gaining their self-respect again, gaining their self-esteem. The acts that they do need to get recognition, no matter how small. Start with the small stuff and we'll build up to the big. But you can't have a child with low self-esteem trying to learn something because nothing feels important to them. Self-actualization, that's the independence. This is where parents need to step back and let their child fly. If they fall out the nest, you've got to help them get up again, dust off, and try again in a different way, or sometimes just try again. But this is where parents need to take that step back and let their children have their own identity. If we can address these needs, all of the barriers to learning will be eliminated. So everything that they need to learn in a classroom, they're much more open to taking that information in, applying it, experiencing it, and experimenting with it if their needs are met. So this is all according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But if you want to explore your child's needs, if you just feel confused, contact a professional. Have them look at what symptoms are coming out and talk to the people that know your child. The symptoms at school may be very different to those at home, because at home your child feels like they belong. At school they don't feel like they belong. So chat to those around you and talk to your child. But most importantly, if you are concerned, get some help. Thank you so much. We'll chat soon.